Joining us now for today's roundtable, we have radio host and columnist for the Boston Herald, Adriana Cohen. Also with us, author and commentator Ellis Henican. Thank you both for joining us here on Newsmax Now. First question goes to you, Ellis. Could President Obama make it past the nomination to be a Supreme Court justice?
Well, I guess if Michelle's not available, he could. There's no requirement that you be a lawyer,
Well, he is a lawyer. He's a constitutional lawyer.
And he's a very experienced lawyer and a very smart one. And sure, listen, that's the big prize in this presidential election is who's going to get to appoint the Supreme Court justices. As you know, guys, they hang around for decades. They have a huge impact on the future law. Conservatives have had a grip on that court for decades now, and let me tell you, there's an awful lot of Democrats across America who are just salivating at the prospect of getting some sane justices back on that court.
Adriana, what do you think about the idea of having President Obama on the high court?
I don't think one Republican would vote for that, given the fact that he has acted lawlessly as president of the United States. He's engaged in lawless executive overreach. As you know, there's 3 different branches of government, and the president, the executive branch, is just supposed to enact the laws passed by the legislature, but he has violated that. He has rewritten Obamacare multiple times. He's had several acts like this where he acted more like a dictator than respecting the 3 branches of government. So I think that if he was seriously interested in this, there would be a big blowback from Congress.
Now, do you guys think, and we'll start with you, Ellis, that when people head to the polls, they actually appreciate how much this is going to factor in to what our lives are going to look like over the next 10, 20 years when they pick a president this election cycle?
Now, anyone who pays attention to politics certainly does. I mean, I don't know if you're, average idiot on the street that grasps it. But listen, I mean, it's as a huge impact. Most of the stuff a president does lasts through his or her term. But this is one of the gifts that can keep on giving for decades to come. Absolutely true.
Adriana, what do you think?
You know what? I think President Obama actually will opt to go into the private sector. He's already made references to that basically he understands that presidents live in a bubble. And I think he has said he does want to spend more time in the private sector. And let's face it, that's where the money's at. I mean, look how much money in terms of hundreds of millions of dollars that President Bill Clinton has made since he left office. I mean, think of these lucrative speaking fees where even now, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was making $250,000 a pop for a speech that's only 1 hour long, and she wasn't even president. So there's millions of dollars to be made for a president in terms of memoirs and future speaking fees. So my money is on President Obama heading in that direction versus
All right, I can see it now. He's going to start a think tank. It's going to be based in Hawaii. It's going to be called the Choom Gang. He's going to wear Hawaiian shirts and flip-flops. It's going to be great. But guys, a lot of times in history, presidents have nominated a justice, and a lot of folks thought they'd turn out to be conservatives, but you look at John Roberts, nominated by President George W. Bush, very influential in upholding Obamacare and legalizing same-sex marriage. But I want to get you guys' pick out of the presidential campaigns. Give me the one candidate that you guys feel like is the most dangerous when it comes to nominating a Supreme Court justice. Adriana, I'll start with you.
Wow, you mean the most dangerous?
Who scares you the most? If they get the chance to nominate 3, 4 Supreme Court justices, who scares you the most?
On the Republican ticket,
either one, Democrat or Republican.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton because, well, let's say Bernie Sanders, he's so left-wing, he might, try to appoint someone who's a major socialist to take our country in that direction. And so I think that's pretty scary.
All right, Justice Ben and Justice Jerry on the Supreme Court. Ellis, who scares you the most?
I got to quibble with you 1 second, though, about you're portraying Justice Roberts as some kind of crazy liberal. I mean, I know a lot of folks on the right don't agree with his Obamacare decision, but I mean, the guy's been a pretty solidly conservative Chief Justice.
I'm just saying there are some examples out there.
But who scares you?
1 or 2, right? 1 or 2 that he's wandered away from the orthodoxy on. That's true. But I mean, I would say Ted Cruz. I mean, he's been a clerk on the court. He's hugely interested in it. He's an absolute zealot when it comes to a kind of head in his sand reading of the Constitution. And
he's got no friends in the U.S. Senate. I can see a lot of Republicans saying,
all our rights away.
No, sir, Ted Cruz, if he got elected.
All right, that's all the time we have for this round. But stick around, guys. We still have a lot more to come. Coming up, Donald Trump tells Fox, "You're fired" when it comes to tomorrow's final GOP debate before the Iowa caucus. Will his decision make him appear stronger or weaker to voters? We'll ask our roundtable to weigh in. Welcome back to Newsmax Now. A while back, President Obama gave his 2 cents on Republican presidential candidates who are upset with unfair moderators.
They can't handle a bunch of CNBC moderators at a debate. If you can't handle those guys, then I don't think the Chinese and the Russians are going to be too worried about you.
Apparently, Megyn Kelly is really, really scary.
And with presidential contender Ted Cruz seen here using Obama's tactic, egging on Donald Trump for a one-on-one debate, is it a smart move for Trump to dump this debate?
For joining us for a roundtable, radio host and columnist for the Boston Herald, Adriana Cohen, also with us, author and commentator Ellis Henican. All right, Adriana, let's start with you. Trump supporters say this move is in Trump's best interest. It's probably going to galvanize a lot of his support, though. But how do you think it makes him look, weak or strong?
You know what? I think Donald Trump should have gone to the debate and handled any question presented to him. It would have showed strength and finesse, answering a question intelligently, honestly, and with confidence. I think he should have been there. By doing his own thing, I mean, it's a bit rebellious, and some of his supporters may like that. I mean, I like the fact that he wants to do an event to help veterans, but he might lose some votes with Iowa voters.
Well, Ellis, I kind of want to agree with Adriana, what she said there, but based on that statement that Fox News sent out yesterday, which was hilarious and sad all at the same time, I feel like they kind of left Trump with no choice. I mean, what do you do if you're in Trump's shoes in that situation?
I got to tell you, John, if Barack Obama and Ted Cruz agree on something, far be it for me to disagree.
That's what I said in the morning meeting today.
That was a great response.
I'm going to be the coalition builder here. You know what? I don't like politicians bellyaching about reporter questions. I mean, I think Megyn Kelly can be scary. I mean, I know Megyn, and I've been on TV with her a bunch of times, and I mean, she can bring out the baseball bat. I mean, she is rough, but no Iranian has much on her, I don't think. But that said, you look weak. I mean, you look like a wimp. You look like a complainer if you can't handle any questions. You run for president, you got to take anything they throw at you. Yeah, so I wish you didn't do that.
Well, we were talking about Megyn Kelly. This feud that's been going on comes with accusations. In the past, now, Trump has said that some things that some may argue could be interpreted as sexist. The Washington Post, for example, continues this conversation with today's headline. Take a look. The sexism in Donald Trump's latest swipe at Fox News' Megyn Kelly. But Breitbart rebutted, saying Trump has not treated Megyn Kelly any different than he would a male rival. Adriana, let's start with you. Do you think the claims of sexism have any merit?
Well, we know that Donald Trump, likes to take shots at people, both sides of the aisle, both genders. But where he does enter into the realm of, I understand people saying sexist, is when he made reference to Megyn Kelly's monthly situation.
He says it was he was talking about her ears.
Talking about her ears. That's what he says. And,
she had blood coming out of all kinds of places. That is a female reference,
right,
for sure. But that being said, part of Donald Trump's appeal is that he is not politically correct. He's unfiltered. He's honest. He says whatever is on his mind. And that has captured everyone's attention on both sides of the aisle. It's monopolized media time. And I think it has definitely helped him in the polls. And so that's part of who he is. And so far, it's working for him. I mean, look at how much he's dominating, not only in Iowa and New Hampshire, but nationally.
Yeah, you mentioned that comment about bleeding out of where what. So I want to go back to something that the Breitbart article said that argued that it wasn't sexism,
Move away
right?
from that quickly.
Please.
This was the criteria. So it said...
I still don't understand it. I'm sorry.
Right, okay. So here's what Breitbart said,
Alice.
It said, if you didn't know who he was talking about, you wouldn't know Trump is talking about a female. Now, again, he tweeted this out. Remember, I refuse to call Megyn Kelly a bimbo because that would not be politically correct. Ellis, what do you think? Is the Donald being sexist?
Is Donald sexist? Yeah, I think he's sexist. I mean, just listen to the guy. Yeah, I think he's sexist. I don't think that means that he's, any rougher on women than he is on Mexicans, John McCain, Muslims.
Yeah, he
he's
doesn't
anti a
discriminate
lot of
there, is what
people.
you're saying.
I'm saying that's just part. I mean, he's a bit of a pig, isn't he?
Well, that's not for us to
Part of
say.
this,
That's
part of
not
this-
for us
it's
to
part
say.
of what
That's
makes
why
him
we have
gross
you
and part
on.
of
We
what
lost
some people
Adriana.
like.
She's going away.
Adriana,
Good.
she's insulted.
I'm back.
Okay, good. We thought we scared you away.
Sorry.
The thing I keep coming back to about Donald Trump's appeal is that you got to be worried about the quiet billionaires because they've got something to hide, like they might be doing something
Right.
illegal. Donald Trump is out there. He says what's on his mind. He operates his business in a very public way. He acts like he's got nothing to hide. I think a lot of people take comfort
Oh, they
in
love that.
in
And they love
aspect
that
of
he
him.
bashes political correctness all the time. So I think it works for him. I don't know if it works for those undecided voters, though.
Well, Ellis, Adriana, it's been a lot of fun. Look forward to having you both back real soon.
See you guys.
Love to. Thanks.
Just ahead, the projected forecast for a deficit spells trouble for Republicans. Coming up, we'll discuss the challenges that await. Plus, we always want to hear from you. Tweet us at Newsmax Now or leave us a comment on our Facebook page. We'll air some of your comments coming up a little later.